So you want to move to Greenville, South Carolina, but you don't want to live in a stuffy, tightly wound type community where neighbors email you complaining about your grass having a few weeds in it, or your car isn't parked in your driveway the correct way. And I get it. I grew up on 100 acres in South Carolina, so I understand the desire to have your own space and not have some annoying neighbor breathing down your neck because they have nothing better to do with themselves. So in this video, we are going to talk about all things HOAs in Greenville, South Carolina. We're going to demystify HOA communities. We're going to talk about where you can live if you don't want an HOA and more. Let's do it. As always, my friends, my name is Will Sawyer, your friend in real estate here in the upstate of South Carolina. And it's our goal with this channel that we are your #1 resource for all the things that you need to know about your relocation to the upstate. We are dedicated to providing you with the most reliable, the most relevant, the most practical, and the most data-driven information you can or can't find on the internet. And if you decide to relocate to the Greenville area, I would love to be the realtor that you choose to work with. So please do me a favor, email me at my email below or shoot me a text at my cell phone number below so we can start your journey to get you to Greenville. So first, let's talk about myths around HOA communities here in our area. You know, unlike many HOAs, say in Florida or other more expensive parts of the country that have been littered with strict HOA communities, HOAs here really are more laid back from a fee perspective and a red tape perspective as well. Most HOAs in our area are going to cost $400 to $800 per year. Yes, not per month, per year. Oftentimes, when I say that to people who didn't want to live in an HOA, they oftentimes will say, oh, well, I can live in an HOA then. I just didn't want to because I thought they were super expensive. Well, that's because that's what those folks are used to. You know, I've had clients in the past who have paid anywhere from $2,000 upwards of $15,000 per year in HOA fees. And it's very seldom the case that someone's going to have to pay here that type of money in our area. I can think of only a handful of communities in the upstate where you will pay over $3,000 per year in HOA fees. And these are communities that are going to be, one, either gated, or two, very exclusive, or they might include lawn and landscape maintenance, or they're going to be filled with amenities like pools and walking trails. They're going to have a golf club, maybe tennis courts, clubhouses, and so on and so forth. So if you're a buyer in that $400,000 to $800,000 price point, then generally you can expect to pay in HOA fees $400 to $800 per year. And if you're in a community that has lawn maintenance and landscape maintenance included, then that's when you can expect to pay a higher HOA fee of $1,500 to $2,500 per year, or $125 to $240 per month. Common amenities you'll find here in our area for that $400 to $800 per year price point are pools, pickleball or tennis courts, a playground, and maybe sidewalks. Now, the number of amenities depends on the number of homes in the community. Once you get over, say, 125 to 150 homes in the community, that's when you start to see all of these amenities, and anything less, home-wise, you may find a couple of those amenities, but not all. And let's say that you need extra garage space, which is why you initially didn't want an HOA. Well, there are builders that specialize in extra garage space here in our area. And if you want a list of homes by those builders, reach out to me via email at my email below. I would love to provide you with a list of those homes. So where should you live if you don't want an HOA here in the upstate of South Carolina? Now, when a client comes to me and says, hey, Will, you know, we do want to move to Greenville, but we can't be in an HOA. Well, I'm going to have a few follow-up questions to that statement. The first is, can you tell me why it's important that you aren't in an HOA? And the second, is there something about your lifestyle that requires you to not be in an HOA? Like, you know, you have several cars or motorcycles and you need to have a detached garage or like a large garage structure to house all of those vehicles in. Or possibly you want to have chickens, or you have a camper and RV and you want to be able to park it on your lot. And those questions usually give me a good understanding of your situation. So if you don't want to be in an HOA, here are some places to put on your radar and why. To preface this section, the first thing I will tell you if you don't want to be in an HOA is that Most new construction homes in our area are going to be in HOA communities. Unless it's an infill lot, say around the city or actually in the city or in the outskirts out in the suburbs, these homes are usually going to be either on county roads or on streets that have older homes that don't have an HOA. So if you want new construction and you don't want to be in an HOA, that's fine. But just know that inventory will not be as abundant, and prices to get the most inventory for these types of homes, these newer homes, are going to be north of $450,000. They are also going to be about 20 minutes or more outside of downtown Greenville. Now, if you're in the city, it's likely that you won't be in an HOA. However, you are going to be governed by the restrictions that the city has. So now let's talk about areas you should check out near downtown first. The first being the east side of Greenville. Since this part of town was largely developed in the 20th century, a lot of these homes are not in HOA communities. They are in communities themselves, but usually these communities are not governed by an HOA. Now, living on the east side of town is going to give you every convenience there is. Access to hospitals, access to shopping, access to restaurants, and access to downtown. For example, I sold a house on Kings Ridge Drive, which is just below 8 Hampton Boulevard, right outside of Botany Woods subdivision. This home was in a community, but it's not in an HOA. And it was a brick ranch, mid-20th century build. Very similar thing over on Lawrence Road. I sold a house on Brookdale Avenue. This house is also in a community, but it's not in an HOA. Now, outside of the immediate vicinity of downtown, I would say look on the west side of Greenville. So that's going to include Easley, Powdersville, and Pickens. And living on the west side of town is really going to offer you every convenience that, say, the east side of town does with respect to shopping, access to downtown. There's a hospital in Easley. There's a number of restaurants and businesses in Easley to go and check out. Same thing in Powdersville. And as Pickens has started to grow a lot more, Pickens has gotten a lot more vendors and a lot more businesses that are coming into downtown Pickens. For example, I sold a house over on West Ridge Drive, just on the southern end of Powdersville. Now, this house was in a community, but it was not governed by an HOA. The third part of Greenville that I would recommend that you look at would be the Travelers Rest area and Northern Greer and Northern Taylors. And we've done a video recently on this part of town, so be sure to check out that area as well. But this part of town is going to feel a little bit more rural. However, it is going to have as many conveniences as any other suburb, so be sure to check out that video. And the last place that I would encourage you to look at would be Spartanburg. And Spartanburg County is going to be smaller than Greenville County. There's a lot to love about Spartanburg County right now. Spartanburg County is undergoing its renaissance. There's a ton of industry in Spartanburg County, and there are millions and millions and millions of dollars being pumped into downtown Spartanburg. So if you wanted to live 15 or 20 minutes outside of downtown Spartanburg, there's a number of small communities and small towns that you could find homes in at an affordable price that don't have an HOA. So I hope all of that information was helpful in determining the right places to live if you don't want to be in an HOA community. And if you don't want to be in an HOA community, that's totally fine. We can filter out these types of communities when we are helping you find property here in the Upstate. And if you decide to move to the Upstate of South Carolina, like I've previously said, I would love to be the realtor that you choose to work with. So please do me a favor, shoot me a text at my cell phone number below, or send me an email at my email below. I would love to meet with you and start that conversation about getting you to the Upstate of South Carolina. As always, my friends, my name is Will Sawyer, your friend in real estate here in the Upstate of South Carolina. And until next time, stay safe. Well, this video is going to be a about Greenville County, the Upstate of South Carolina. Great thing to do and easily in the evening. I'm a local real estate expert here in the area. All time, we're right behind me is a really cool place called Freight Yard.